Today is Bitcoin Pizza Day. It honors a gentleman who had spent 10,000 Bitcoin to walk away with 2 pizza. In today's pricing, Bitcoin, that same 10,000 units gets you about 770 million US dollars. I want to show you how early we are to this trade. When you hear about these astronomical gains that Bitcoin has gone through over the last 14 years, a lot of people ask themselves the question, am I too late? Let me compare it to you to other major global asset classes and the asymmetry of this opportunity. So let's compare it to other major asset classes, starting with global real estate and global debt. If you look at global real estate, the entire real estate market, which is considering all residential real estate and commercial real estate, is worth about $634 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. That is a massive store of wealth and a massive store of value. Let's compare it to global debt. Think of yourself of, your US Treasury market, your Aussie Treasury market, your corporate bonds, worth about $348 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. That is a massive asset class. Let's compare it to global equities. If you compare it to global equities, think of things like BHP, Rio Tinto, Nvidia, Apple. Global equities is worth about $154 trillion. Absolutely massive market here, $154 trillion. Huge. Gold. Let's get into another one. Let's get into the other precious metals. This is where real store of wealth, real store of value starts to kick in. $30 trillion estimated. Silver, $4 trillion. Let's go through that, ladies and gentlemen. That is huge. $4 trillion. And little old Bitcoin, $1.5 trillion for BTC. Can you imagine that? Real estate, $634 trillion. Debt, $348 trillion. Equities, $154. Gold, $30 trillion. Silver, $4 trillion. And of course, Bitcoin, $1.5 trillion. One of the most asymmetric bets that you can place is by simply buying Bitcoin. Let me show you how Bitcoin can grow over the next 5 to 10 years and what it could look like in your portfolio. Now let's compare it to gold parity. If the total global Bitcoin market cap was equal to that of the gold global market cap, that is a 20x from here. Because right now we're sitting at $1.5 trillion on the old Bitcoin, $1.5 trillion on BTC. Gold, however, this is where it gets really, really juicy. This is where the asymmetry kicks off, is a $30 trillion market cap. To become equivalent to that, it's a 20x from here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that gold's going to do that. I'm not going to say that Bitcoin's going to catch up to gold. I'm just giving you the examples of how much of an asymmetrical bet that Bitcoin is if you choose to hold it within your portfolio. If you would like to have this entire parity trade unpacked for you and to understand how small Bitcoin is compared to other global markets, I would love for you to comment parity down below and I'll send it directly into your DMs. Have a great weekend, everyone. Cheers.